What does the immediate future hold for LAFC? Just when you thought the Chargers' injury situation couldn't get any worse, Keenan Allen isn't going to play tonight. And the Rams get further validation that their 2023 draft was surprisingly effective. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is December 14th, 2023. I'll be back on the road. You'll see me broadcasting from an airport tomorrow morning. But whatever, we're going to be good. We're going to be happy. Do you like being in the know about LA sports? Well, if you do, then clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. I do look forward to hearing from you, and I definitely try to get back with you. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Anthony Davis scores 37 points, grabs 10 rebounds for the Lakers, who led by as much as 20 points over San Antonio and wound up holding on to the win to get the win, 122-119. LeBron James sat out the entire game. After all, it's back-to-back road games. He played 40 minutes the night before. So they're at least making the half-assed attempt to keep LeBron healthy for a playoff run. Not a good look for the LA Kings last night. Got to admit it. They started out to a 2-0 lead, wound up dropping the game to Winnipeg 4-2. They've lost 3 in a row. Alex Laferriere scored for LA. Meanwhile, today, the Chargers are in Vegas at 5:15. This has the potential to be a uniquely terrible football game. Absolutely. The Bolts are missing both Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen. We'll get to a little bit more on that in a few moments, which is basically pretty much their entire offense. The Raiders have committed to a rookie backup quarterback, and they're down 2 starting offensive linemen. So I'm pumped. Sign me up. Where can I see this garbage before I fly halfway across the country? Also, Golden State are going to be at the Clippers at 7:30. Let's take a moment. I normally like to talk about the LA team, but let's take a moment and appreciate that the Warriors don't have somebody to punch anybody on the Clippers in the throat. Let's take a moment. Latrice Sprewell thinks that Draymond Green needs to practice restraint. You know? And I got to tell you something. Have you ever noticed something about Warriors coach Steve Kerr? That sanctimonious bastard cannot wait to lecture all of us on American life, but on his own player having a lengthy history of kicking opponents in the nuts and punching them in the throat. Oh, no comment. No comment. I didn't see a thing. Steve Kerr, American hypocrite. Now, opinions are abounding about the immediate future of LAFC. You know, the team that won MLS Cup 2 seasons ago, got to the finals this year, couldn't come through. And can you blame people for having a lot of different opinions on LAFC? Half the starting lineup could be gonzo. One key player on defense already is gonzo. He retired. But again, it goes back and forth. Bad or potential opportunity. They could have 2 designated player spots open. And by the way, it's not like just because Giorgio Chiellini retired that they have nothing on defense. I like Ryan Hollingshead. I think he's terrific. I think they have some pretty damn good players back there. But we're talking, if you look at the team overall, there's questions on top of paradoxes, on top of quandaries. It's like chum for conspiracy theorists. And if you want to read conspiracy theories, you don't have to go to these crazy channels about ghost hunting. All you have to do is read up on international soccer. You'll get a lot of conspiracy theories there. So the rumors about who are going to leave and who is going to stay, they border on ridiculous for LAFC. For example, Dennis Bouanga wants something. No, he doesn't. Stop it. Stop it. I will believe Dennis Bouanga leaving when I see the U-Haul truck backing up to his place. I'm not even remotely positive, though, that LAFC will keep all of its out-of-contract players. You could say, well, what about Carlos Vela? He's been amazing for them for quite a few years. I could counter that by saying losing Carlos Vela wouldn't be nearly as painful as losing some of these other players. I think the best out-of-contract player might be central midfielder Kellen Acosta. I really do. Maxime Crepeau might be the best goalie available on the open market for MLS. Diego Palacios, a defenseman, has designs on playing in Europe. So it could be a very painful offseason for LAFC if you think about it. And by the way, though, that's not even the biggest problem that LAFC might be facing. LAFC was successful the first time that it had to reinvent its roster on the fly. They had to let go of Diego Rossi, for example, Chicha Arango. They didn't just survive letting those guys go, though. They did thrive. Because, for example, they guessed right on Bouanga. They slid him into the lineup, and this year he ties the record for the most goals in all competitions for an MLS player. But aside from Bouanga's historic year, where else did LAFC turn to for reliable offense? Anyone? Vela used to be a threat from anywhere on the pitch. He only had, 9 goals last year? That's not good. For that matter, the next generation of LAFC players, the ones who could theoretically replace Acosta, replace Palacios, the black and gold did not strike gold with these guys. Mario Gonzalez stunk up the joint. I needed to be reminded that Stipe Buick and Nathan Ordaz were on the team. So if it matters, if you're an LAFC supporter, and by the way, I'm a Galaxy fan, but I try to be fair. I do. If you are an LAFC supporter, these are my thoughts. When manager Steve Cherundolo took over, he made adjustments that Bob Bradley simply would not try. Bradley wanted his teams to play one way only. All pressure, in your face, all times, no compromise. Nothing but pressure. Cherundolo adjusted. One way on defense. Bradley wanted all defenders in the face of the guy with the ball. What Cherundolo did was he had his defenders, his defensive mids, play the passing lanes. A little bit more passive. Tried to ruin places for the offensive man to go with the ball. Couldn't pass this way, there's a guy in my way. Couldn't pass that way, there's a guy in my way. And when LAFC would eventually get the ball, they would go on a quick counterattack. And it worked. It worked. Cherundolo got LAFC to heights that Bob Bradley couldn't. The point that I am getting at is that Cherundolo will have to ask himself what type of style is going to work with these players when they come in. Because they can't keep everybody. They can't. There will be change. And it's not, can this player fit into my system? It's, can I adjust my system to fit the player? It's the other way around. If he is as rigid as Bob Bradley is, LAFC is going to have a real problem next year. So those are my thoughts about LAFC. Meanwhile, for the Chargers, life is just getting silly. We mentioned that Keenan Allen will not be playing tonight. He injured his heel. He has been ruled out. And the poor guy, he was having a career year. He was already known as one of the NFL's most reliable receivers, and the guy was having a career year. 108 receptions. He led the NFL, 4th in receiving yards. So you got to sit there, you look at this roster, and for me, look, we can go with the obvious. We can all scream about firing Brandon Staley and about how GM Tom Telesco should be held accountable. And I understand that. I do. But I feel bad for Joshua Palmer. I mean, the guy opened the year as the 3rd receiver on the team, which is actually a pretty cake position in the Chargers offense. Because you're sitting there at the beginning of the year thinking, okay, great. Keenan Allen's going to draw the double team. Then the defense will have to worry about Mike Williams. And I'm going to get a bunch of catches because I'm going to be wide ass open without having to kill myself. So then Palmer gets hurt. This is likely tonight his first game back. And guess who's going to draw the double team now? Guess who has to catch passes from Easton Stick instead of Justin Herbert? Because I'm telling you something, Quentin Johnston is not going to draw the double team tonight. He's not. And I'm not trying to tell you that the rookie is a bust, but I'm starting to think that he's going to need a doctor to surgically add fingers to his hands because he's acting like he's walking around with a couple of frying pans stuck at the end of his arms. Now, if you're a Chargers fan, and I'm a Rams fan, but if you're a Chargers fan, I would suggest that you start drinking very early. But be of good cheer, because on the plus side, Raider fans are known for drinking heavily. So maybe both of you guys could get super hammered and hug it out. Finally, it's Christmas. It's the time of peace and miracles, right? The Rams, well, ESPN looked at them and they ranked the top 10 rookies in the NFL this season. They put 2 Rams on the list. One, you can pretty much guess on your own. Puka Nacua, a dude taken 177th in the draft overall. He is considered the 4th best rookie according to ESPN. Consider that Nacua has more catches than Taylor Swift's boyfriend. 4 games left. Nacua is on track to set the single season record for receptions by a rookie. That record was set by Miami's Jalen Waddle, who caught 104 passes back in 2021. The other guy who made that top 10 is outside linebacker Byron Young. And Byron Young, by the way, he's been kind of quiet, but he has 6 sacks. That leads all rookies. So in other words, they've got themselves another quality receiver. And I'm not going to sit there and tell you that Byron Young is the next Von Miller. But yeah, you would want those 6 sacks. You give him a couple of good weeks, he'll be pushing 10. That's a tremendous rookie year. That puts him among the top pass rushers in football, frankly. The Rams signed tight end Miller Forrestall to the practice squad. And that makes sense because they could be down both of their 2 top tight ends on Sunday when they play Washington. And I will grant you, every loss stings. I will. That one out in Baltimore where you just had a massive upset just at the tip of your fingers and it fell through the cracks. But of all the teams that are currently under 500 in the NFL right now, CBSSports.com thinks the Rams have the best shot to make the playoffs. Because only 1 game on their remaining schedule is considered really difficult. That will be the season finale at San Francisco. So the Rams need to make a run right now. But guess who's on a run? Matthew Stafford leads the NFL. 10 touchdown passes in the last 3 weeks. So there's hope for the Rams. By the way, LA is also going to get the Super Bowl back in the year 2027. And I guess that's a thing. But to be honest with you, I would rather have a Super Bowl win for my teams than host the Super Bowl. So I don't really feel compelled to go into, the economic output for LA. I don't give a damn about any of that. Shohei Ohtani's deal with the Dodgers does in fact have an opt-out. And the opt-out is triggered if owner Mark Walter or team president Andrew Friedman splits. Now, if you're wondering about the possibility of either happening, it could with Friedman. It could. The LA Times asked him about it a couple of years ago, and he said at some point, maybe his family does become a larger priority. But having said that, Friedman never put a year on it. He never said, I've got 3 years left. I've got 5 years. He's never said anything like that. And by the way, I'm sure that he took that into account when he signed Shohei Ohtani in the first place. And besides, before any of you guys panic about possibly losing Shohei Ohtani and Andrew Friedman in a very bad day, consider what Ohtani is saying by signing the contract. He's basically saying, I'm only going to leave the Dodgers if the ownership or front office implodes. Consider where he came from. There are still mushroom clouds hanging over Anaheim Stadium over, oh, is Artie Moreno going to sell the team? Now he's not. Oh, who's the GM now? So Ohtani wants stability. I don't blame him for that. The Dodgers signed reliever Daniel Hudson to a minor league contract. If he makes the big club, he gets a minimum of $2 million. He's been chronically injured. He only made 3 appearances last year because he jacked up his knee. Cornerback Fabian Ross has elected to enter the transfer portal and leave USC. Ross did not record a single statistic all year. Not an interception, not a pass defended, not a single tackle, didn't even commit a penalty for Pete's sakes. So when the dude comes out and says, guys, I need to transfer because I didn't get any playing time, yeah, I get it. Good luck, sir. Good luck where you land. Galaxy General Manager Will Kuntz joined a podcast, Corner of the Galaxy, which is one of the few podcasts that I do listen to. He confirmed that a rumor about right back Mickey Yamane, quote, there's probably some fire beneath that smoke, unquote. Now, if it does come to pass that Yamane comes to LA, he would be the second Japanese international star to come to the Galaxy. It would also mean that the only returning starter from much of last year's season would be Jalen Neal. 3 of the 4 guys on the back line would be brand new. And I am absolutely okay with that. I am absolutely okay with it. Because if your back line allows the most goals in MLS, no job should be safe. You should not be sitting there thinking about next year if you allow the most goals in MLS. You should be wondering about if you get to keep your gig. Now, as for the rest of the roster, there are about 10 spots on the Galaxy in need of filling. Kuntz said that with regards to the salary cap, quote, things are very tight, unquote. Now, as a result of that, I would suggest to you that we all be skeptical, extremely skeptical, whenever you hear of an international star rumored to be coming to the LA Galaxy. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. What do you believe is the future for LAFC? Do you even think the Chargers can score a touchdown without Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen? And if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Quian Corte El Queso production. Take care.